started, fizzing at a photo they've taken. Space tree flying through the skies and battles happen everywhere.
Welcome back, guys. Going to be doing a nice and quick one today. Heading out on the kayaks for about a week or so. Bit of a few day expedition up in Scotland. So just going to be getting on a quick extract kit, Woodforde's Wherry. So it's a 23 litre kit, all the malt, yeast, priming sugar, everything else all included in there. So really nice and easy to do. This kit actually brews to 23 litres, but as usual I'll be brewing short, partly for laziness because it means that I can just keg instead of bottling it, and partly just because I've actually brewed this one before as well. It's very, very light on the sort of flavour and body, so just kind of dialing that back a little bit just gives you a little bit extra in there. So yeah, let's get brewing. So what's in the box? As I say, with these kits, you basically get everything you need. So we've got 2 packs of ale yeast, 12 grams, which is perfect for these 2 kits, and the 2 tins of malt extract. Doesn't look like we've got any priming sugar in this, so yeah, I mean they're usually kind of included, so someone's potentially nicked it or they don't include them in the Wherry ones. But that's fine because I'm kegging anyway, so they're not going in bottles. The only other thing I'm going to be doing, I am going to be using some Tesco Ashbeck water. Basically I'm in a bit of a hard water area here, so these kind of lighter, more sort of session-y type beers don't lend themselves too well to that. And rather than faffing about with the kind of water chemistry side of things, because I haven't got time for that today, this is just a nice, quick and easy way to do it. So it's soft water and they run to 130 for 5 litres, so 20 litre brew you're looking at just over £5, so that's not too bad at all. Ashbeck's actually also the stuff that I use with the no rinse sanitizer, the Star San, because that just works perfectly. So yeah, let's get everything cleaned and sanitised. Everything has been scrubbed and cleaned, and just got some Star San solution in a spray bottle. So just going to give everything a nice heavy spray. The last thing we want is an infection in the balls. And the good thing is with this stuff, as I say, it's no rinse, so absolute minimum kind of effort involved there. Now we just need to get the kettle on. Next thing we want to be doing is getting these bad boys in a bit of boiling water for around about 5 minutes. So basically it's a thick syrupy malt at the moment, like a treacle type substance. So leave them in water, boiling water 5 minutes, and it just kind of helps loosen everything off and makes it a little bit easier to get it in the fermenter. In the meantime, I'm going to start and get Ashbeck water on the board. So just going to use this just to kind of rinse out any leftover extract in the tins. So as we know, we have to have warning labels to everything nowadays. Metal cans in hot water, they're going to be hot, don't burn yourself. Alright, now that boring bit's out of the way. So we have 1 malt can, 2 malt cans. Just going to get a tin opener and pop the tops off these bad boys. The magical stuff. With these, literally all we're going to do is just dump them into the fermenter, and then just rinse any kind of leftover gubbins out with the boiling water. Obviously this stuff is super sticky because it's just basically sugar syrup. So just leave that for a few minutes. Just going to give this a quick stir just to kind of loosen up any malt that's stuck to the edges on that, and then just give it a few minutes just to kind of dissolve anything in before these go in the fermenter. Obviously when you're picking these up, these are going to be malted, no boozy wastage, which is what we like. There you go. On that one there's a little bit of residual, so I'm just going to bob a little bit more hot water in there just to get all those sugars out. Right, so we've got the malt extract all in the fermenter. So that's all the sort of sugar and fermentables that are going in on this kit. Only thing left to do now is top it up to either 23 litres if you're following the kit itself, or as I say, I'm a brew short, so I'm just going to go for 20 litres on this one. Temperature wise, I find it easier to check the temperature as I go. Grainfather makes it massively easy because there's actually a controller on the front with a display. You want to be aiming for somewhere between 18 and 24 degrees. I prefer to go for the lower end of that just before you pitch your yeast, just to give it the healthiest start. The sooner you can get it in that range, the better, really, because it will just mean that you can pitch your yeast. You're going to have less chance of kind of infection or any kind of wild yeasts or anything like that taking hold. So yeah, let's get this topped up. As I say, all we're doing on this, nice and easy, just topping up to the 20 litre mark and keeping an eye on the temperature. What I'm going to do after I've put this one in is just give it a good stir, just to kind of mix up all the malt that's in there. I've got a good base of water in there now, so obviously spin's all been kind of sterilised, and just want to give it a little kind of mix. At this stage you don't need to worry about getting any oxygen in there, and in fact that's actually beneficial for the yeast. So this is the only stage that it's absolutely fine to give it a good kind of slosh around. Can feel with the heat on there that malt is already nicely kind of dissolved. Right, so we're running at like 45 degrees at the moment, so it's no drama in dumping the rest of this water in cold. Also to help oxygenate it, drop it in at a height as well, because the splashing will just aid with that. Although try not to spill it everywhere because that'll make a very sticky floor. One job, Dave. Right, so we're at 20 litres now, so we're just going to give that a little bit of an oxygenation. the time if you're going to be taking a hydrometer reading to find out your original gravity or starting gravity. You can either do that with a hydrometer or like I am going to be using this little monkey. So I'm just going to get this cleansed and sanitised. And then it's just a case of dropping this in and setting it up on the app. These things are awesome. There's various ways you can actually control them, either through like a Raspberry Pi. To be honest, what I tend to do is just leave an old phone running that's connected to Wi-Fi, logs the data, pushes it through to the Grainfather app, and then I can just pick it up anywhere really. So yeah, job done. Just re-sanitised the lid because that was taken off there. I'm just going to drop these clips on for the moment. Basically, I'm running slightly above temp at the moment, but only at 28 degrees. So I'm just going to make sure everything is in there and sanitised and locked off. Leave that a little while to cool down, and then we'll get the yeast bit. You just want to half fill your bubbler. Always make sure you use either a high proof alcohol for that, something like cheap vodka. Don't use indecent whiskey, but the cheap stuff absolutely fine. Or alternatively, just Star San. It just stops any kind of bugs and nasties getting in your brew. Always make sure I put my fermenters on a tray or something similar. Occasionally, you won't get it with a Wherry, but occasionally you'll get quite a vigorous fermentation the first few days. Can sometimes blow the air cap off. If that happens, or you get any beer in the actual bubbler itself, just take it off, clean it, sanitise it, bob it back on. It's not a drama. If it keeps happening, you can always drop a blow-off tube in there just to sort of make it easier. So basically that's just a big tube going down to a small bucket of sanitizer. Usually just cover it in foil just to keep that clean, and that will sort that issue out. So yeah, let's get this tilt set up. So as I say, this is just a old phone that I just leave plugged in and connected to Wi-Fi while I'm doing the brewing. So fire up the tilt app, have already calibrated it. That will just scan for Bluetooth devices, and usually fairly quickly just picks up the tilt hydrometer. There we go. So just need to, obviously that's from the last brew, clear that, type in Wherry . And yeah, job's a good one really. Just need to set it up on my usual phone on the Grainfather app, and we're good to go. Okay, so temp-wise we're down to 20 degrees, so it's time to get the yeast pitched and let that work its magic. It can take anything from kind of a few hours to up to kind of 36-ish. If it's going beyond the 36-hour mark, you may have a stuck fermentation, which may mean you need to repitch that. Before we pitch the yeast, we're going to sterilise the packets. Again, just spray it with a bit of Star San along with the scissors, pop everything open, sprinkle it on the top, and seal everything up again. Temperature-wise, obviously this is a heated fermenter, so I'm going to set that at the kind of lower end of what I want to be fermenting at. So I'm going to stick that at 17. It will probably take anywhere between 5 to 7 days for this. If you're just doing it in a fermenter bucket with kind of a heating pad or at room temp, you may be looking up to 2 weeks for that to tick through. I tend to go at the lower end of things. Yeast is an exthermic reaction, so it will bump the temperature up as it's fermenting. But also it gives me the opportunity to slowly ramp the temperature up towards the end once the yeast is starting to tail off. Just helps to clear up any potential off flavours that you're going to have in there. So yeah, let's get this done, and I think about getting packed for this kayaking trip. the Wherry had mostly fermented out after around about a week. It got down to what they say the expected final gravity is going to be at 1014. So what I did over the period of the next week, just crank the temperature up by around about a degree every 24 hours or so. You don't really want to do more than that because it can shock the yeast a little bit, but it just gives them the opportunity to eat up any kind of residual sugars that are left, and also potentially clean up any off flavours that are in there. So during the course of doing that, I've managed to get it down to 1008, which all in will come in at around about a 4% beer, so kind of nice session beer with a little bit of residual sweetness on there. So all I've got left to do on this one now is get the tubing sanitised, rack that into a keg that I've already kind of cleaned and left filled with tar sand. So nice easy job, just rack it in there and then hook it up to the CO2. I think the last one I set at something around about sort of 10 psi, something like that. Didn't just kind of pretty much wanted a little bit over serving pressure, so I didn't want to carb that too much. So yeah, get this done and then get the next one on. Just want to make sure that tube is right at the bottom of the keg, just to limit any oxidisation. Beer's all caked. I'm just going to get this hooked up to the CO2. Obviously, always make sure you put it in the in, not the out, because otherwise you knacker your valves up. And I'm just going to carb this up to about 10 psi. Okay, so what you want to do after you've done that is just burp the keg a couple of times. It just helps get any kind of residual oxygen or anything like that that's in there. And then the other good shout to do is just get some star sand, spray it around the top, just to make sure that you've properly got a good seal on there. It just avoids your CO2 emptying overnight. And yeah, that's all looking good. I've got to say these Kegland kegs are really good, actually, compared to the other ones that I got. I think there was the AEB ones I've got a couple of. And yeah, these are just so much better in my opinion, just easier to kind of use and handle and everything else. This will go away for a few weeks. Just let that kind of condition and carve up, and then yeah, we'll crack that open. But now the fun job of cleaning up and getting ready for the next brew. I've got a little bit of beer just left over, and to be honest, for 4% session now, I really can't bother to clean some bottles and carb it up. So I'm just going to chuck it in a growler and just chuck some lemonade with it and just have a few shandies with that. These growlers actually got from the Misty Bottle in Skye, which if you're up that way, definitely worth a stop by. They've got some amazing beers up there, and did a bit of kayaking with Kev from South Skye Sea Kayaks, and yeah, he's an awesome fellow as well. So if you're up that way, fancy a bit of kayaking and a few beers and stuff, definitely check those guys out. Got an extra 2 and a bit pints out of the drag, so that's definitely not to be kind of sniffed at. We never want to be wasting any beer, and obviously this hasn't carved or anything yet, but we've been away and not actually had a taste of it at all. So let's have a quick sniff. It smells very kit brewy. There's actually some really nice caramel flavours going on in that, and as I say, it's still early, still needs carb and a bit of conditioning, but yeah, for a 4%er, that's pretty good. One of the biggest things that I've noticed stepping the game up in the kit brewing, because unfortunately As much as I'd love to do all grain, it's just not possible at the moment. But this thing has been amazing. The difference in just controlling the kind of temperature on your brews really does kind of take it up quite a few notches, and the kind of kegerator and keg setup has made life a hell of a lot easier as well. So yeah, let's get cleaned up.